Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. So here we are, revving it up with some ladies of music. Local ladies. Let me introduce you to, if you don't already know her, Katy Ashe, um, singer
Hello.
extraordinaire and wonderful teacher and musician.
I think
And
you're muted
what else?
again. Are you muted?
I'm muted again? Or is it you? Can you hear me now? And Miss Niki Kaos. Can you hear me, Nikki?
I can hear you.
And Deb Cavanaugh, um,
Hello.
another wonderful lady of music. And we're missing a couple of people. Erin and Megan Hood. Megan will be here in a couple minutes, but Erin has gone MIA. So we don't know if she's going to join us or not. But let's get into it anyway, because we are here. And we can talk about it.
I
And
can't hear you, Steph.
you can't hear me at all?
Can't hear you.
Okay, hang on. Let me
Is it
jump
just me?
out. No, it may be me. Let me just look at what my drivers are, because some devices don't like the drivers of my mic.
I can hear you
I got
fine.
you on my.
Yeah. So, Katy, you can't hear a single thing. No, I guess you can't. So
Uh-oh.
if you guys, she hear you guys?
Katie, can you hear us?
Okay, she can't hear me. She's gone out. She'll come back. The what happens is sometimes when you leave the room and you come back in, you lose the connection and it doesn't come back. It's weird. On certain devices and certain drivers. So if she can do it, she'll be back in. So let's talk, ladies. Since we're here, we've got a couple of people watching. I'll start with Deb. Deb, when did you choose music as a profession or as the um, thing that takes up the majority of your time in life? I guess that's what I call it.
Well, it's kind of tricky because I've always done music, even as a kid. Um, but I decided to be a full-time musician in the mid-90s.
Oh, cool.
I just made a decision, quit my job, and then figured out how to make it work.
Okay, Katy, can we hear you?
Right. I can hear you.
Megan Hood, can we hear you?
Great.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
Hey,
awesome. We can hear you too. So why don't we have everybody except for Erin, who, like I said, went AWOL. We're talking to Deb about when she started. We're going to talk to each of you about when did you choose to be a musician? So as a kid, what did you do, Deb? As a kid, did you play a certain instrument? Did you perform in plays or choirs, or
well,
what did you do?
I grew up in a musical family. We sang all the time. We sang every minute of every waking day. So I never thought that I wasn't a musician.
Awesome.
And that, yeah. And my first paying job was singing at a wedding when I was a teenager, young teenager. And I even sang in a choir that was directed by Duke Ellington,
That's
singing
awesome.
singing his sacred music.
Interesting.
It was an incredible experience.
That's
And I was
awesome.
15. Yeah. But I started having children early and kind of focused on my family and put my music on a back shelf
Oh,
until,
we're going to talk about kids and working musician mothers. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. Megan,
yeah.
I know you've been dreaming about music since you were a kid. Tell me about it.
Absolutely.
Tell me about it. Tell me how you started.
Well, when I was 2 years old, I was actually 80% deaf. I had problems in both my ears. And I somehow started playing piano. My brother took piano lessons. And so I would follow him around because I wanted to do everything he was doing, of course. And I I would wrap my arms and legs around the piano leg to feel the vibrations. And I started playing piano.
Awesome.
So I did that all the way up until I got accepted into Yale School of Music, or Neighborhood School of Music, when I was like 10. Trying to learn how to read music and whatever, but I didn't like it much because I felt like I was losing touch with playing by ear. So I stopped, and then by the time I turned 21, I decided that I was going to try to play the guitar and try to sing. And I always dreamed of being on a big stage. That was my dream, of being on a big stage with one spotlight on me and playing to thousands of people. Lo and behold, I got that in a weird way, but it happened.
Awesome. Yes, and I've seen you perform to a large crowd, and they love you. Funny about the hearing thing, and then all of a sudden, listen to you sing. It's very. It's
amazing,
Katy,
what they can do.
It is amazing. Katy, when did you start? How old?
Yeah. So I was pretty little. My mom says I was like 13 months old singing James Taylor from my room. But actually, funny, my mother is deaf. And so there's that. That's interesting, Megan. I didn't know that about
weird
you.
component, yeah.
So I know. My dad was a musician. He had a band called the Keystone Band. So I was at his house on weekends, and that made no sense for a working musician to have his kid on a weekend. But I sat through a lot of band practices.
maybe it didn't work the same way back then.
Yeah, I started. You're right. Well, it did. I just think my mom was working. She was bartending and stuff at the time, so that worked out for them. But I started playing guitar late, and at the same time, I probably within a year, I started and then I was in band. I played saxophone and all county jazz band, and I started taking classical voice lessons when I was 14. And so when I was playing, and I coincidentally started playing out professionally when I was 14 with JJ Raymond and we had our band Decadence. Like that's how old I was when we started.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I started playing out.
I remember the first time I saw you guys,
was,
but I didn't realize that you started out that young together.
Yeah, she was she bartended at Casey's North, and I was the hostess, and I got up to sing with Rich Ortiz one night, and she goes, "I didn't know you sang," and then we started playing together, and so I did a lot of learning with her. And then when I got to college, my voice teacher was like, "You got to make a choice. You're either going to kill your voice singing rock and roll, or you're going to give opera a shot." And I felt like I'd been, singing rock and roll for, at the time, a few years. And I was like, all right, I'm going to give opera a shot. So I did that and went to study under Susan Harwood, who was from the Peabody Conservatory. And I got my degree in vocal music and then started teaching, and then, but band kind of always was still there. And once I graduated from college, I was like, all right, I'm done with classical music. Let's bring on the rock and roll. And so that's kind of where I went. I had to explore all of that. And I started having kids too young. I was 23 when I had my first. And he's 12 now. So, and now I'm still having
so here
but still playing out, still recording.
How long are you going to do that? Up until you deliver? Or, 7.5 months now, right?
Well, streams in a month. Yeah, I'll be 8.5 for my live stream, which is the latest I've gone, super pregnant. But, I've been spending the last month recording a solo album since I couldn't be out with my band. And so I was like, hey, I feel pretty accomplished. I wrote 2 albums in 6 months and very different spectrums.
Awesome. Wow.
And just keep it busy. Just keep it busy.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen when you have the baby and school gets going again and you've got to promote the albums? It's going to be a busy fall and winter for you, lady. Niki, I already know your story from the last time we were together, but let's do it again. when you started? What was it? Teenager?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I was really thankful to go to a school, an elementary school, that had such a strong music program, which I can't emphasize enough to anyone listening how important that is. So that was a foundation. I started playing saxophone. I was saxophone girl myself in third grade. So I played alto and soprano and went through NISMA in New York State and all that stuff.
And like I told you, I was French horn, same age group. And what can you do with a freaking French horn, right? So I didn't stick with it.
They're a little awkward. I can understand that.
Yeah, but there was no great rock and roll songs at that time that you could play a French horn to. That's why I gave it up.
We need to bring it back.
Yeah, we got to do something with a French horn.
That you and I are going to do a French horn conglomeration. I'm putting it out there. But to get to the question,
have to have a good ear to play it.
Yes. The brass instrument's such a good ear that blows my mind. I'm jealous of brass players. If you could pull that off.
Don't be.
Oh, no.
But anyway, get back to the question about when you started in the strong school program.
I know, but I love school programs, though.
And I think I'm a product of a school program, too. I mean, that's where I first picked up an instrument. It was at school.
It's really important. And I think especially for women, maybe, or young girls who might not have the opportunity to be in a band, it gives them access to being able to be creative in that way. So I can't say enough about how important that is.
Yeah, school is
for myself personally, my parents helped me have guitar lessons when I was 16. I went to Hilton and Latham Circle Mall. I started out on a steel string. They made me switch because they basically said, we need another person for this classical guitar quartet. So they basically talked my parents and myself into switching to a nylon string. I learned classical guitar. And then I flip-flop back and forth. And at that time, I had these songs. I still play a song now that I'm working on that I wrote when I was 16. And the lyrics are solid, the chord arrangement's solid. So all that prep kind of led me to creating music. And from 16 forward, I've written so many songs. And I love holding the guitar when I'm feeling things and expressing myself in music. I play by ear too. The vibrations comment was really cool because I purposefully avoided theory. Yeah. I went to Schenectady Community College for vocal training. I almost was an opera person. I did the classical. I did the recitals. It didn't resonate with me. It felt off. It felt artificial and like I was on airs. And that's not who I was. I wanted to be kind of with the people. So it was rock and roll for me. The classical never fit. But it was that vibration, that ear, and that listening. And I will say, to sum it up, maybe women have an aptitude for that in a different way. When I've been in groups, I always strive to really listen. And I think it takes tapping into your feminine side to do that. And there's a lot of really talented men that I've performed with, but they're very focused on their voice. And there are also men who get past that, and those are the ones I stick around with. But it really takes listening, and that's a feminine skill. And I hope that women can bring that in the future, continued, because it's really the essence of music. You can learn theory till you're blue in the face, but if you can't listen, I don't want to play with you.
Okay, my next question, thank you, Niki. The next question is, was there a strong female influence in your choice of musical direction? I guess is the question, really. Did you have a strong female influence or idol or somebody you wanted to emulate? Let's start with Megan.
I'm trying to think. I feel like the only female that I can actually think of that I remember like singing on a stage in a spotlight was Crystal Gale, and I remember her hair
Oh,
was
yeah.
down to her ankles.
Yep.
And it was like the most glamorous thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. And I was like, oh yeah, that's got to happen.
Your hair didn't quite get there, but you got to the spotlight.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But I got to the spotlight. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like most of my influences were male.
Oh, cool. That's a good point.
Yeah. I think that's probably part of the reason also why, I mean, I love singing with other females and obviously identify with it. And I actually wanted to say something to Niki was, I feel like not only you have to listen to the music, but you have to feel it and like literally let it resonate with you. And I feel like that is something that really makes a difference when you're trying to connect with somebody musically, or even just on a human level to begin with. But I find that I connect better with a lot of male vocals, unless they're really like, I love female, completely vulnerable vocals, just raw, like everything that's in you, just like you're feeling that I can resonate with it. I can connect with that so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the only musician that I was able to do that with was when I was a teenager, and it was Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pieces of Me came out and I was like, oh my God, she knows everything I'm feeling.
Mine was Ann Wilson. I used to sit in front of the mirror in my bedroom when I was a girl and play my Heart albums and try to copy Ann Wilson. Everything she sang, every song,
Awesome.
even the slow songs. I wanted to be just like her. Didn't quite get there. So, Katy, let me ask you: did you have a somebody you looked up to? Let's go female or male. I think that you have to include the males.
So, like, my very first person that made me want to be like a rock star was Steven Tyler.
Ooh.
Janie's Got a Gun had a profound impact on me. I was 4 when it came out. I used to stay up all night long, listen to the radio until it came on. Like, and also, like, I loved Motley Crue. Like, I used to listen to those girls before bed. My mom was deaf, so she didn't know what they were saying. She's like, whatever, and put the tape. But I loved, because I had a cousin who was 12 years older than me who had all the hair metal records. I was like, yeah. But you know, getting older, Tori Amos had a huge. She was everything to me. And then Fiona Apple came out at the time, and I'm not talking like I like B-side Fiona Apple, like the weirder the better with her. And she was like tortured, and she made it okay to be like not okay. And I really love that. Like, she was just, I'm totally messed up, and you're gonna love it. and I did. And then like Joni Mitchell she's still everything. Like, I need to sit with her one day. She's everything to me. Especially now, like, you know, her entire catalog, I think it resonates with me because it's so
she's
diverse.
got an amazing catalog.
And what I loved about her, she was the first one that was completely fearless and was like, I know my label wants this, but I'm doing this, and if you don't like it, I'll just go wherever I feel like, because I do what I want, because I'm Joni Mitchell. Mm-hmm. And so I think those are some pretty strong women.
Yeah, but imagine what she went through. Imagine what she went through to be able to do that, because she had to work her ass off to be able to stand up to somebody and sell enough records to be able to say to somebody, I'm not doing that. That, you didn't even have that power before she came along, really. Didn't have it.
And she, like, I feel like she was like such a pioneer, because here are all these guys in Laurel Canyon who are like being crowned for this sound, and she's smoking all of them out of the water. Like, just saying, it could be this. And she was dating all of them. And was like breaking their hearts left and right. Like her
and Judy Collins.
And I was Yeah,
Her and Judy
no one
Collins. They're writing
like, they
songs
were-
about
they were-
him. You know, they were like the Rosanna
Right, exactly.
Rosanna Arquette of their generation. You know, they're having famous songs written about him.
Yeah,
Because they were just like dating them all
Yeah,
and
and,
breaking
like,
their
just-
hearts and leaving them for dust. So.
right. Next, they were all
Yep,
just saying
and next. Yep.
you know, but
It's
so
funny though.
that resonated with me for a time.
Yeah, so it's the strength of the woman, and you know,
Yeah,
not
they
the
had testicular fortitude.
exactly.
You know, they
That's
were,
a good
they were-
band name.
Testicular fortitude.
Yeah.
So Deb, where
Yes.
what did you have any idols? Did you have any strong influences? It doesn't have to be female. I was just looking for females to talk about, but it could be male. It just needs to be
Yeah, you know what?
influence.
I had a lot of female musical influences, and they changed over the years, like a lot. I grew up listening to Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday, and they affected my singing style a lot. And then I was listening to Motown on the radio, Diana Ross, Martha and the Vandellas. So they also, and I did a similar thing. Someone mentioned that they stood in front of the mirror and tried to copy. I think it was you, Stephanie.
Yeah, it was me.
I did that with all of those different women. Joni Mitchell was one, and then I got into the Grateful Dead, and Donna Gotcha was a huge influence on my vocal style. Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I'm a singer first. I picked up instruments later in life, much later in life. You know, so my singing is really my main.
So and that just, you said it changed. Did it through the generations? Anybody recent that you know admire, like, think is great? Well, Deb.
So many. You know,
Many.
Yeah.
Can't pick one.
I can't really pick one. You know, it's funny. My grandkids and kids used to ask me for favorites, and I always tell them I don't have favorites. You know, I really like everything. And my music has gone through lots of different morphs too. You know, like I started out doing classical music, and then I was doing blues and jazz, and then rock and roll. And then I left the world of rock and roll and jumped into traditional folk.
Right.
And when I started playing string instruments, and now I'm back into rock and roll.
There you go. Come full circle.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 518, this area, and this.
Can I tell my influences? I hate to interrupt.
We didn't.
But I really want to tell them.
I thought I did yours. Sorry.
No.
That's okay. But
Maybe
I wanted to say,
Go ahead.
Fiona Apple, amazing. Her new album, amazing. She's incredible. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
It's okay. I apologize for skipping you. I thought we'd already done your influences. I feel like I talk to you every week. I feel like I talk to you every week.
I'm not shy.
So let's talk about your influences, because I love the way you cover Patti Smith, for example. That song, the one that you did for me that I caught on film, I loved the way you took on Patti Smith. I wouldn't even dare do that, but you did. So let's talk about what your influences are.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because that was probably one of the most daring moments I've ever done.
That's why I loved it.
Because Patti Smith, first of all, what a fierce woman.
Yeah.
She's
hard to emulate. She's hard to cover.
I really resonate with her tapping into the working class feeling. And the thing you're referencing is that I did for Radio X. Mm-hmm. I did a spoken word piece that she does called Piss Factory, which is literally about working in a piss factory, which I've never experienced, thank God. But the words really resonated with me. That grind of pounding it out, doing this menial task, which is
Yep.
stupid and makes you insane because there's no creativity and the people don't even care if it's done well. They'd want it to be done on a specific schedule in the army, almost like the song for me.
Yeah.
And hearing her resilience and her anger and fight against it and how she needs to be creative. And the end of the song is she's like, I'm sitting here sweating next to these people and I got to get out and go to New York and let my voice be heard. So to me, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm the same way. So women with loud voices, Tori Amos, again, I just was talking about her. My most influential album is Little Earthquakes. Her voice is incredible. Ani DiFranco, listen to her first 4 albums, and it's like she's a teenage fuck you. I'm like, yes. Like having these women who are so brave, so young, and like so centered, even as whatever generation I am, I feel completely energized and inspired by that because it's important. So Jewel, I listened to Jewel, 10,000 Maniacs, Natalie Merchant.
Yeah.
Her early stuff, incredible. Edie Brickell, that easy vibe, like but modern stuff too. Like I do a Nicki Minaj cover. I do Bees in the Trap. Bitches ain't shit and they don't mean nothing. 100 motherfuckers don't mean nothing. It's like that edge. You know, the women who are being fierce are the ones who inspire me. And so for me, Joni Mitchell, again, everything that was said, 100 props. She's an icon legend like Patty. And Joan Jett and the Blackhearts and Heart and Nancy and Ann and there's Pat Benatar. Man, when I was a kid,
Benatar's my second influence.
I used to hang out with my friends and we'd be like, hit me with a best shot. And we'd do a choreography and we'd be so cute. And, it's just like about having fun and empowering women to be themselves and being honest about that. And it's really hard. I guess to circle back on the women thing, it's super hard to be vulnerable and tough. And the best female artists embody both of those things. And that's who I'm drawn to.
Fran O'Neill, also a local lady in music. I just talked about Ann Wilson being my influence. You missed it. You came in after I spoke about it, but I'll chat with you at another time. We'll talk about Ann Wilson. And another lady in music, Mel Garino, Patti Smith. I wouldn't have figured, Mel. There's a lot of people I thought would be your influence, and it wasn't Patti Smith. What else is going on? There's a bunch of people on, a lot of guys on, but they're not asking questions. Woo! Feel free, audience, to ask questions.
Bring them on.
Bring them on. I want to talk about this area. Like I was saying before, I forgot about Nikki. I want to talk about women in the music business in this industry. How tough is it? That's basically what I want to know. Maybe some stories about what it took you to get to where you are. Maybe. I don't know. If you thought it was easy, say that too. But let's hear about it. Megan, I know you've gone the casino route and the big stage show stuff and the little dive bar duo thing. What do you think? What do you think?
I think that it takes a lot of persistence and a lot of hard work to get your foot in the door to places. And to be honest, like I worked my butt off to actually get into those spots. And I think that I had to think like a man almost. You know what I mean? Like I had to be everybody's buddy, and I had to not be shy, and I had to be really outgoing, and I had to,
Yep.
you know, be really tough when people didn't want to pay me at the end of the night, and people wanted to bother me during my show, and I had to be a bitch. And, you know, when a guy does it, he's not being a bitch. He's just
Nope.
being, you know,
Standing up for himself.
right. He's just being strong. And so I learned so much about myself by playing out. And I learned so much about myself by building my business and building my music career, and getting my foot in the door in this area started once I kind of got the knack of that, of like, okay, I have to just be my authentic self and be a strong person and keep going with that. Then it became a lot easier. And then they were asking me for gigs. And then before you know it, I had to start saying no. And that was a really cool feeling, honestly. I hate saying no. I hate it. But I was like, wow, this is.
There are times when you have to say no.
Exactly. But it was really awesome. But I literally had to find my sense of self first before I could do that stuff. So if I was me when I was 21 years old and not sure of who I was and afraid to say boo to anybody, you know, that wouldn't have worked, trying to get paid at Sandy's at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
But now that I know myself, and now that I know
Richie's
that I'm
a sweetheart.
Yeah, he is. But once you're trapped in the basement with him, you kind of get a little different view of what's going on.
I think he's slowed way down now.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be strong. What do you think, Deb? Do you think that, I mean, I just think that you have to be more than the guys are. I think you have to put in more effort, more time. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. And I find too, you know, as a band leader, I have to really work hard in the beginning to kind of stand my ground and, you know, be the leader, because people want to defer to one of the other members who are male.
Right.
I remember when I was younger, my voice was very, very high and very strong. I was also classically trained. And we would do these big festivals, and I would go up to the sound guys and explain to them that I was going to hit these really killer notes, and they didn't want to crank me up too high. And they'd all just kind of, you know, shake their head and shrug their shoulders. Well, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. She's just a chick singer.
I love that.
And then I would hit one of those notes, and you'd see them flying for the soundboard because it would distort everything, you know. So many times, you know, those kinds of things happen. It is getting better, I think. There's a lot more men, especially in the younger generations, who are more aware and really making an effort. But yeah, I had to work probably more than twice as hard as the guys in the band.
Yeah. Katy, you're a band leader as well. What do you think? And you have an all-man crew and some strong ones as well. I mean, I can't imagine going toe-to-toe with Chris Shump. I really can't.
We have a lot of really good knockdown, drag-out fights. Chris and I have been playing together for so long, though, that it's like a kind of like the Odd Couple. Like, we know how the other is, we're going to say something and we know what's coming from the other side. And it's like, we're at this point in our relationship and our friendship, like he's my brother and I'm his sister, and we're going to, and then we're going to walk away. And like, it's always because we want the same thing. But, you know, I think a big part of it is having a vision. Whoever has the strongest, because it's not so much like, oh, I'm a band leader. It's like, I just got this idea. I've got a vision. You can either be a part of it or you're in my way.
Right.
And there comes a time where you have to like gently convince everybody to see, like, I love my dudes. I get them to do some crazy stuff. Like, you know, in October, I said, guys, I'm going to manifest some stuff, and I want to go record out in the desert with, you know, some guys from Queens of the Stone Age. We're going to do this one day. And 2 weeks later, I had the studio booked.
Yeah, there you go.
And I said,
God.
hey, so you guys want to go to California and spend a bunch of money that we don't have and let's go do this. And they're all like, yeah, let's go. I mean, I have crazy ideas, and I also don't like the answer no. And they kind of, some days they're reluctant, but I mean, for the most part, they are right with me, like news team assemble. But, I think it really is. It comes down to, if you're going to be a good leader, you've obviously got the respect of everybody. But as far as working harder, I think I had to work harder to find the right people to work with.
That's a good point.
Chris and I had a time where we didn't have a solid rhythm section, where we had Mick was kind of AWOL for a bit, and we had Pork Chop here and there, and he was kind of hired gun, but he didn't really want to tour for a while. And so we went through a period where we were auditioning bass players and drummers for probably 6 or 7 months. And I can't tell you how many times I got called the C word.
Woo!
Because guys were not used to someone saying, yeah, I know I don't play like that. I'm like, but if you want to play here and you want to play this music, that's how you're going to play,
Mm-hmm.
One of them was my dad didn't call me the C word, but I mean, my dad was like, I'll fit on a gig with you. I'm like, it's going to go well. I'm my father's daughter.
Family. You can't work with family.
So yeah, you really can't. But I think a lot of people are not used to, first of all, taking orders or suggestions or criticism from a woman. And I love me a good old male misogynist, because I'm going to stomp all over him. Like, strong men smell me a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it, because I want them to smell me a mile away. Like, I just think that when I'm a warm and loving person, and I've got all this love in my heart until I don't. And so I think when you carry yourself,
yep,
you kind of demand that respect from them. And if they don't want to give you that respect, they're going to learn that they will or not be there, and I've had to say goodbye to a lot of people, and I wish them all well. But I think the older I've gotten, the less I care about what people think, and start to trust myself more. And like Megan was saying, you have to know who you are. And when you're juggling being somebody's wife, daughter, school teacher, mother,
right,
but you really want to be this rock and roll beast who swears and cusses and does whatever the hell she wants, you got to find a way to balance that and still be true to yourself. So I think I hit 28, 29, and I stopped apologizing. And that's when things really took off for me in a musical sense and in a career sense.
Yeah. That's the thing. You have to get the respect from them. If you don't get it, you don't have a chance. They're going to call you the C word and do all sorts of things because they don't have the respect. And I don't know how you build the respect.
I tell them to enunciate the T.
I got to bring Deb back in here. Where's my mouse? There we go.
Yeah, I think if you give it, I always give people respect, but it's I don't know. I've definitely met some dudes that are just I'm not taking, you're not bad for a girl.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that part. It's like us saying, you're not bad for a man.
You're mediocre for anybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
I don't ever feel that way about things.
I just feel like we still have to go to Niki, but I feel like there's double or triple the workload trying to get that respect. And it takes us longer, years wise, time wise, to get it than it does the guys. What do you think, Niki?
That's a really challenging question for me, because emotionally I agree. It does feel that way in my heart, and it's hard to admit that. It's hard to accept that, because it feels wrong and frustrating.
Is that Ace?
And so then we go to the work, which is what we do to overcome it. And we try to focus on getting the job done and being the best we can be all the time, putting aside the hurt of having to fight for that respect. So, you know, it's kind of funny. I have very mixed feelings about this, because on one side, as a woman, I've been able to hang with the guys. I've been able to accomplish what I've wanted to accomplish for the most part. And I feel like the work I've put in has been recognized to the degree that I put in the work. But there is something lacking, and it's frustrating to constantly have to fight for respect. I think there is something there that, if, you know, guys are listening, I love you, man. I love being rude with you, Beavis and Butthead style. I love all that shit. But, you know, there's got to be some kind of give back that maybe sometimes doesn't happen. And I'm not sure how to bridge that gap. But at the same time, it hasn't necessarily held me back. So when I think about succeeding, I still can succeed. I can still compete. I can still technically achieve parity. You know, like, I'm not necessarily feeling like when I show up to a gig, if I tell a sound guy, I haven't had those problems in the past years. Like, I can see that being an issue, but now I do feel like that's less of an issue. It's more the emotional undercurrent that is harder to really to figure out and tap into. So, you know, first of all, I don't know about everyone else, but I don't make my living from music. And I know Deb does, which is incredible. Deb and I go way back, and she taught my kid in music classes.
Oh, wow.
You know, I'm honored to be in this group with her, because she's an inspiration to me locally, for sure, as a woman who's made a career of music.
Ralph Brenna had some nice things to say about Deb last week on the show.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, when I said you were going to be on the show, he's going, I know her. So, you know, he thought that was the coolest thing, that I had you on the show, Deb.
Exactly. Deb, I have a lot of people I know who are like, oh, Deb Cavanaugh, holla.
Yeah.
And because she's one of those people who has that technical expertise, but also that connection to the emotion and the feeling. And, you know, the only thing that's lacking for me in connecting with male musicians is their willingness to acknowledge the female side of things. And kind of like Katy said, I'm not good at that. I need to talk to you about interviewing skills, because I need to get fucking people out. I don't need to waste my time. But
just tell it like it is, Niki. That's what I do. Just tell them like it is.
You feel bad, or all these things. Like, it's as a woman, you kind of want to help people. Maybe, I don't know.
Megan, do you want to help people? Do you want to help the guys?
Like, no.
I always want to help guys, but
no, good.
I've had guys not talk to me for 10 years because I kicked him out. Like, fine.
I suck at that. I'm a soft touch. But I'm learning. I'm gonna follow Katy and Megan and learn to say no.
I think that's
so
the
much fun.
I think it's the first thing that you have to, if you're going to be strong and run your own show and not be the background singer for the rest of your life sitting in the back. You have to learn to say no.
But see, I've been the front singer.
Yeah,
but I've not learned to say no. That's why
you had to learn. You have to learn it in the beginning, Nick. You have to learn it in the beginning.
It's backwards.
When I was 18 and I was having to choose between, am I going to stick with music or am I going to be a DJ? I chose DJ, and I'll tell you why. Because I got to sit in a booth and make my own decisions by myself at the beginning of, it's at the end of the disco era, the beginning of the new wave. And when dance floors exploded all over the place, and I was one of 2 female DJs in the state at the time who had a club. And I had to learn to say no to the guys who were trying to tell me how to program my dance floor, because they were coming up and trying to throw songs into the mix. They're saying, like, oh, you're doing it wrong. I learned from one of the best guys ever, and I know what I'm doing. I count beats per minute for every single song that I ever played, and you know, I've done my time. I know what I'm doing. Go away, you little drunk monster. Go. So, you know, that's what I loved about being in the DJ booth, was that I had control over this 6-foot space and all the vinyl in front of me. And I got to look out over the sea of the idiots drinking and saying, ha ha, I know how to get in your head. Anyway.
Fortress.
Yeah.
I feel like the main part about this is, and like the word that keeps coming to my brain is value. Like, I had to make myself valuable. Not only could I just sing, like, okay, some drunk girl from Duffy's wants to come up and sing Bobby McGee. Great. What makes me different from her? And I think that it's making yourself valuable to what you're doing. So, you know, what's going to make me stand out from that chick, right?
Right.
And be able to carry myself, carry the band, carry, or just the solo or the duo, and what's going to make me valuable to this bar, to this casino, to this band, to myself. And I think that plays a big role in trying to book gigs and get respect.
But that's not a female thing. Like, guys also do that.
Yeah, it's just a human thing.
It's a business thing.
It is. I just think that there's a thing in a guy's head that says we are not more valuable, but we are more decisive than women, maybe. I don't know I'm not sure what the word is, but I know that every decision I ever made in the beginning, when I was 18 years old, I started doing this, was second guessed by every guy I knew. Club owners, bouncers, bartenders, everybody wanted to second guess.
Value
you had
as
to
a
prove
woman
it. Yep.
is a constant battle.
Yep.
Well, they think that we're emotional, that
too emotional.
Way too emotional. They feel, or I'm not going to talk for everybody, but I feel like people, when they look at me, feel like I might think with my emotions, but I'm not. Sometimes I am. Trust me.
Yeah.
I think Steph has probably seen that. It's probably
I have seen
somewhere.
it, actually.
Yeah. But I think thinking with like more of a rational business like brain is what men expect from other men, but not what they expect from women.
And here's Katy. We're in a very emotional part of her life. What do you think of that, Katy? That, you know, how your emotions control your decision-making process. It's a very emotional time for you.
You know, I'm a glass case of emotion. Yeah, I think, you know, when my band was like doing the most that we were doing together, I was writing from such a horrible place. I was so miserable and so depressed and so messed up. So when like I started like getting my stuff together, they're like, well, you got any new material that's you got a good angry one, you know, like I write professional place, but as far as like business goes and, you know, gigs, yeah, you gotta have a business sense of it, you know. But
definitely,
I'm such a proponent of trusting your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, I've done so many stupid, crazy things because I was just like a wing and a prayer. Like, what my biggest question all the time to myself is, what do you have to lose? They got nothing to lose, you know. So if it looks like it's a low risk situation for me and I've got nothing but gains to make, I'll do something crazy. You know, I'm not afraid, but so in a way, it's emotional because you're trusting your instinct.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes it takes like something like full and heated to really make you see clearly.
I think
and,
if
like,
you can
make
marry
that,
those things,
because, you know, if you stay in like if you're comfortable, you're not growing. You got to step
Oh,
out
that's a really good
into what's
point.
uncomfortable
That's
in
a
order to grow.
really good point. You
And
always have to grow.
I tell my high schoolers all the time because they're like, I don't feel comfortable doing this, Mrs. Ashe. I'm like, I didn't. My job description does not say comfort bringer. get over the stage fright. I think if even that goes in all facets of life. If you don't know some sort of struggle, you're not growing as a person. And so for me, like the struggle that I've been having is that, okay, emotionally, we're okay now. I'm in a healthy relationship. Imagine that. And things are good and life is good. And what do I have to write about when things are great? Well, then thank you, coronavirus. Thank you for just, life's little blessings.
That's a question I asked all the guys last week is what did the coronavirus do to your career? They had a lot to say. I asked them if they wrote a song about the coronavirus.
I'll tell you.
Yeah. I think it's hitting a lot of
an album.
I think it's hit a lot of industries hard, but I think this industry is so big, and I'm talking about the musicians, the road crews, the lighting guys, the sound guys, the venue owners, and even the festival organizers and stuff. All this money that they had seeing into their future for over the summer and fall, all set up, and they had this income all set up, and poof, it's gone. And I think that causes a lot of thoughts of the brain. And I'm wondering, I asked the guys last week, did it come out in a song? And they think that eventually it'll come out in a song, but it's a little too soon to actually have it come out as a song. But it's going to come out somehow in something that they do, something they write or something they perform or whatever. What do you think? Do you have something to say about the coronavirus in your future? Anybody?
My whole next album has stuff all about it.
All about it. Having a baby during the coronavirus. What a song that would be. You're having my corona baby.
Push it real good.
Push it
my corona. No.
So
yes.
Yeah.
It's way too early. I agree with the guys on this one. It's too early. I haven't processed it yet. I'm not writing corona songs yet.
Yeah, they think it's gonna come, but it's not ready yet. Megan, is that's not Meyer, is it?
No, it's the neighbor's dog, I think.
Okay.
My neighbor's just getting home.
I was gonna say I don't remember Meyer barking that loudly.
He's got such a small little bark. It's so cute.
He does. He's a cutie pie. My three are quite quiet. It's weird. They're probably getting into something bad out there.
That's never a good sign.
No.
The thing that corona did for me was we were hosting a kick-ass open mic at Corcoran's Towpath Tavern, and we were getting all of these amazing musicians out to play, and then we had to shut it down. Yeah. So I really miss, for me, open mic is kind of like, as a musician, it's the petri dish of good and bad music.
Yeah.
Some things make it, some things don't. But I miss that. I do miss that.
And I think that's the biggest part of the whole thing is that we just miss the music. We just miss being in the business. Sitting at home twiddling our thumbs isn't exactly, helping us.
People don't have the means to buy the mics. There's so many great musicians who can't afford to just set up a studio in their house. So my goal, actually, one of my future goals is to create a space that is fully cleansable, that can host people who need to come in and be able to broadcast on the internet, or to figure out how to socially distance live events. It's going to be so different. We're really going to have to put in some effort, but we can't let that go because it connects us and it helps people feel connected. And so for me, my connection to music, it's not a unfortunate. I wish I could have had the gall, the audacity to try to make my living off of music, but I was not brave enough.
Oh,
I was not. But at the same time, I can subsidize my care about music through my career.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is to take all of the resources I can and continue to make music happen, because it's so important at school, in the communities, in parks, socially distanced. We have to figure it out. I can't say it's so urgent to me, by the end of the summer, that we figured out a way to make it happen, because it's not going back to normal. We all know that. So
not right away anyway.
How are we going to keep this connection happening? The drive-in movies with concerts, whatever it is, I don't care, but people get it together. Call me up if you want to call me. I'll put my foot on the ground.
That kind of rolls into my last question. How do we, as women in music, encourage the next generation to embrace this business in going forward in the future from now, and not just being a teacher like Katy or Deb, but how do we encourage the next generation? I think that to grow the female existence in this area, we have to do something. What do we do? Got any ideas?
I have a friend who is
I've got a couple students too.
You do?
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a friend who her daughter is 13, I want to say, and she's kind of been contacting me and asking me kind of questions about how do I start getting booked in places. And obviously she's 13, she can't play in bars yet, but like, what do you think?
With permission.
My songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really tough to decide how to help this young, very vulnerable, very influenced girl. And I'm like, I feel so scared for this generation that I'm so careful with my words with her. I don't know how to tell her to, navigate this situation, except for the fact that just continue to be yourself and keep writing. But I don't really know like what to say.
Yeah, I find awesome. That.
By the way, I'm interrupting. Be yourself and keep writing. Authenticity is the key to every artist. So that sounds like pretty solid advice to me.
Oh, it's terrifying to give anybody advice.
Well, but you can't, because it's horrifying to do it. The advice is it's going to suck, but be yourself, be authentic, and keep writing.
I think you have to grow. You have to grow a thick skin first of all.
It's going to be tough.
You got to grow a thick skin, and you have to be objective about the critique. I mean, if somebody walks up to me and says, "Hey, you suck," I would say, "In what way? What is it that you think sucks?" Because I'd like to know, and then maybe I can fix it, or maybe I can explain to you why I do it the way I do. I mean, I'm not going to blow my horn, but my videos look different than everybody else's videos. I do mine a certain way with certain angles, and it just doesn't look like everybody else's video. And if you want it to look a different way, I'll be happy to film it for you and give you the footage for a price, and you can take it to whoever you want to make it look the way you want it to look. If you don't want it to look like the way I like to make it look, and that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. But saying that it sucks and not explaining the suck is not helping the situation, not helping us to understand each other or what you want out of it. So, there you go. That's
You're a better woman than I am, because
that's the 2 cents. Well, Megan, I'm like nice to everybody until they screw me over. And You know how it is. Oh, well, you're the kickboxer. I'm not. But people can say a lot that they want. I mean, they can screw me out of paying me. They can, talk behind my back and try to make up stories or whatever it is about their experience with me. But when it comes right down to it, everybody is treated the same. I treat men and women equally. I listen to everything they have to say. But once you screw me over, I will not forget it. And that's the tough skin you have to grow. You have to know when to fold them, I guess is what it is. You can fight it out as long as you want. And then, when it's time to fold, it's time to fold. Bye-bye. I'm not having you for a client anymore because, we just can't work together. Bye-bye. It's nothing personal. I didn't tell you sucked, but you did. That's just the way it is. So you have to be like that. It's hard. It's hard to be. Let's make it this way: hard woman. Okay, you have to be a hard woman and a strong woman to get anywhere. And once you get there, then you have to be strong and hold on to where you got with the level of respect in your community. And you guys have respect in your community. Megan, Kay, you all do. Even, Erin's not here, but she's got a tremendous amount of respect. And I think that, it's always hard fought. It's a hard fought thing. You know what I'm saying? Anybody?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I have some female students who I think another thing that we need to tell the young ladies coming up into the business is don't let somebody's rejection define you. What works,
Yes.
Just because somebody doesn't see the value in you yet doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Right.
Literally for life, though.
So many.
Right.
Yeah, really it is. And I think I have some really talented students coming up through the cuff. And I have a 13-year-old student, Caroline, who she sang at my wedding. She's great. But she's also writing original music now.
Ooh.
And she's a full, she plays piano, she plays guitar. She's an incredible singer. She is an incredible writer. And the girl is brilliant. So I'm like, hey, and she's beautiful. Look at you. Don't let anybody mess with you.
Right.
You're perfect just the way you are.
Right.
Don't let anybody taint that.
And I think that's confidence. And you have to instill the confidence in them. And that's a good thing teachers do. I can say that. Teachers do that very well. You're very well trained to instill confidence in the young people. By the way, Brandon's hoping to see Katy and Megan do a cover of some 9 Inch Nails. Not tonight, Brandon, but
Woo!
At some point maybe we'll do that. Hi, Brandon. Thanks for saying hi to me, by the way. It's hi, Katy. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Brandon.
There's no hi, Steph.
Hi, Niki.
No, hi, Niki either.
Hi, Niki.
I do want to talk about, what you just said, Katy, and young people in that confidence, taking on board feedback and staying authentic. It's kind of for me as a writer, that might be one of the most difficult struggles personally, is because I want to stay authentic, but I want to be open to feedback and think about other people's perspectives when I'm creating my music or my song. So ultimately, I would say, maybe, and Katy, you would too, err on the side of being authentic. And if you really in your gut feel like that part of that song is so important, you stick to it and you say, no, we're going to work this out. I don't care what the change is. It may be odd to you, but work it out. And let it sit, and ultimately have the business head to revisit it as a person and say, all right, was that a good choice or not? And admit if it wasn't, but at the same time, being bolder in your choices that resonate with your authenticity as a young artist, as a young female artist, I would say push yourself as far as you can go there. Because people are going to tell you no. And you can say, I don't agree, and let it sit for 6 months and then change your mind. Who cares? But fight for what you feel in your gut is right, and that's something that women need to embody more.
Yeah,
and
if they have a gut, they got to go with the gut. Go with the gut. That's a definite. Oh, we lost Katy too. Well, I was just we're gonna get going. I just wanted to ask you guys what's coming up. What have you got going on in the future? Is there anything that you want to promote, talk about? You want to sell a car, Megan, or something like that?
I'm working on different
Katie's
stuff.
Katie's got a birth coming, so you can send cards and flowers to Katy in a little while. And Niki, what do you got going on? You're still working though. You're an essential worker, right?
I am an essential worker. I work for the New York State government. Yep. I work for the Cambridge Co-op. I'm making sure people have their flour and their yeast and their pasta.
Well, come up with some more yeast because I can't find any.
Well, you can come on up, girl. I got your yeast. That sounds really bad, actually. I apologize. That's not the plug I want anyone.
That wasn't what we wanted to say.
Right? No, that'll be the thing that gets captured from this thing. I got your yeast, but whatever. Okay. Oh That's my life. Anyway, what I have coming up besides your yeast. Jesus. I'm in a band. I'm forming a new band, and we're going to socially distance practice on Thursday. Ooh. We're doing Everyday People. We're really into a Motown sound, but also we like the Grateful Dead. We have a rock and roll edge. We're going to do Pink Floyd. I'm learning the bass line to Money, 7/4, whatever the fuck. All the people are telling me time signatures. I know the time signatures, but I just need to hear it and then I play it. So anyway, I'm just learning all sorts of different things. I'm trying to improvise and use my time to expand my creative outlets. And the group I'm working with is called Soul Circle. And we're really excited. We're kind of like trying to take advantage of this downtime to work on practicing and getting a really good vibe together. So that's what I'm doing next. I'm super excited about it.
Megan, what are you doing? You're not selling cars.
I'm not. Well, Eric's selling cars, but I am managing Downtown City Tavern. Where takeout business is ridiculously crazy. So I'm there pretty much 5 days a week or so. Other than that, I'm getting antsy. I am starting to really, when I was really had it with playing out. I really miss being on stage now. And I think that Jonathan Newell might be getting a little antsy too. And
I saw him the other day.
I really want to revisit the Zeppelin. I really, really do. Cause that Zeppelin band was, I played on stage in front of 5,300 people playing Elvis music and singing solo. And I think still my very favorite, my favorite has been playing Zeppelin.
Yeah, Jonathan is antsy. I was at the theater the other day with him. We did a socially distancing video for this lady.
Don't tell me that. My hopes.
And he is doing some recording, and he's interested in getting going again. So if I see him, I will. Brandon says yes. Bring back the Zepp tribute. And yes. Katie's got a live stream in a month. And she's got a couple of albums coming. Go ahead, Katy. Plug it.
So I have a single dropping on Friday on my son's second birthday and my stepson's 15th birthday. So yeah, I've been writing this new album. I have 9 of 10 songs all mixed, mastered, and completed. And I'm hoping to drop the album in the first 2 weeks of July. Right before the baby comes. But yeah, it's actually it's experimental. It's electronic. It's hip hop. It's 9 Inch Nails, Cardi B. But, socially conscious Cardi B, if that's a thing. But I listen to a lot of hip hop on my free time, and my students will tell you, because we like to have really good talks and teach a history of hip hop class. But yeah, so I'm working on, I'm just putting the finishing touches on a solo album. Last Days has a record written, and we just have to go to California one day to put it down the way we want to out in the desert with Dave Ketching from Eagles of Death Metal and Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'm doing my first live stream, hopefully that I don't choke and fail at or go into labor during in a month. I'm excited about that. You know, that was kind of I was getting takeout, and my friend Anna, who owns Barvina, was like, "You want to do a live stream?" I'm like, "Sure. What else am I doing? Just kids and
kids
chickens and
yeah.
whatever." So,
are they still walking through
I
the
decided
room?
to be a homesteader.
The chickens, are they still in the room with you?
They're still, yeah, they're right next to me in the brooder. They're babies. They're just pooping everywhere.
I'd like to see some guys out there that would be juggling being pregnant, having chickens in their brooder, little kids running, toddlers running around, and producing albums and being on a talk show all at the same time.
Crazy.
I'd like to see that.
A dining room, no less.
In a dining room. I'd like to see one guy. One guy.
Alistair has a few cameos.
I guess Deb's not going to make it back.
But yeah, we're still finishing the school year.
Yeah.
Oh, she was a treasure. It was really cool to meet her.
Yes.
Really cool.
I really want to. I'll get her back some point. We'll get her a better connection. She's out in the middle of nowhere, so.
I love you, Kay Stacy. I'm sorry. I'm finally.
I see. Yeah,
we can see the live.
We can see the live chat. Yeah.
Oh, I can't see any of that.
I don't see any questions from the audience. So I guess that's it for today. I would love to have you back when your project, when you've delivered and your project is, on its way out, Kate. I think I'm looking forward to some new music. I'm just sick of playing the same old CDs, really.
I can't wait to hear it.
And usually what happens to me is I go out to a show, somebody throws a CD at me, a new CD. I have got nothing to listen to. All my CDs, I had a pile like this. I've listened to them all. I put them all into my iTunes. I don't have anything to listen to. I need people to go out and make music because I need something to listen to. So anyway, thank you, Niki. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Megan. Thank Deb. Sorry we missed you, Erin. It was wonderful to have you on, and I'm sure I'm going to see you guys again soon. Megan, we're going to have you back, maybe with Eric, and we'll talk about the duo or something like that. Get Eric online too. Great to talk to you, and say hi to Dan. That handsome guy of yours. I remember when I saw you and him together the first time. I said he's the guy. Yeah, I told you he's the guy, and he is.
She goes.
Funny you said that too.
That's a keeper.
I told her.
The
first time I saw them together on a date. I said, "That's a keeper right there," and she ended up marrying him and having kids with him. So anyway, and Niki, say hi.
Babies.
Yes, two babies.
You said the same
say
thing
hi
about
to
me,
Dan for me. Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
So it's the blessing.
I'm a matchmaker. Yeah, there you go. That's what I am. So I'll have you all back, and thank you. And thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, Stephanie, for organizing this.
Next
You're
week.
awesome for keeping us connected.
I'm going to keep everybody connected. Next week I've got the media guys from the 518. We've got Andy Gregory from WEXT, Art Fredette from Radio X. I've got Jim Gilbert from Nippertown, Chris O'Neill from Froggy 100.3, and just we're trying to get a guy from Metro that used to run Metroland, get everybody on, so that we can talk about how media affects your music. That's going to be a good show. So that's next week.
Lineup.
Yeah, it's good lineup. It's good lineup. I'm really appreciative. I'm really appreciative of all my friends who want to be on the show. And if there's anybody out there that has a suggestion for a show and wants to be on the show, get in touch with me. All right. So it was good to see you all, ladies, and thank you so much. I love you all.
Thank
you. Bye, guys.
And thanks to my audience. Thanks, Kathy, Dee, Mel. That was awesome to see you. Brandon, don't forget to say hi next time. And Herb and Herb's sister and everybody who came by. Thank you so much. It was great to see you all. Good night.